Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. We are back. We're going to do another video. I found something to put behind me, so let's get into it. Um, Today I want to talk about Rathskeller. So there's ghost stories surrounding Rathskeller. It's here in Rockford. I drive by it all the time, and I had no idea. So let's get into it. The Rathskeller restaurant on Auburn Street has been known for its tasty food and unique atmosphere since the 1930s. Many people have visited the beautiful beer garden since its addition in 2009. This place is a wonderful combination of Rockford's German history and the present-day quest for good German food and beer. What may surprise some people is that it also houses a few spirits of the paranormal kind. The history of Rathskeller goes back to the early 1900s. Fred Goitz, a Merrill, Wisconsin native, came to Rockford when he was drafted in World War I. Fred was German himself and didn't want to fight in the European campaign against his fellow countrymen, so he was listed as a conscientious objector. That's weird. I've never heard of that before. And served his time at Camp Grant. Oh, we talked about Camp Grant. We know about Camp Grant. I'll list that in my description box so that way you guys can watch it. As a quartermaster corpse sergeant, he fell in love here first with his soon-to-be wife, Irma, and then with the city itself. Fred decided to settle here after the war and worked for a time as a Burroughs adding machine company salesman. Fred loved the Rockford area, but there was one thing he missed about Wisconsin: good sausage. He searched in vain for the kind of sausage that he enjoyed as a child, but the I gotta do this shit. I can do this. Fred loved the Rockford area, but there was one thing he missed about Wisconsin: good sausage. He searched in vain for the kind of sausage that he had enjoyed as a child, but that did not stop the industrious Fred. Fred decided that if Rockford didn't have it, then he would bring it here. He ordered the sausage from Milwaukee, first for himself, and then, as word spread, for his friends. The idea took off in a big way, and by 1931, Fred was ordering sausage for 800 households. Fred was a smart man and decided that he should open his own shop. Fred gave up his job selling adding machines and began to sell meats at his own sausage shop on Auburn Street. He sold other things besides sausage, including breads, caviar, and cheeses. Fred noticed that many people would buy his sandwiches and stand outside to eat them. So he decided to expand. He set up a couple of tables with some chairs for his patrons to enjoy their food. Before long, he had to expand into the basement, and with a nod to his German heritage, Rathskeller was opened. Rockford's population swelled during the World War II wars, and Fred and Irma's little place grew with it. They introduced other foods, including the Lyonnaise potatoes, which would become one of the signature dishes. Fred also imported beers to complete the German experience. In the 1980s, a false wall was discovered in the basement dining area. The stories claim that Fred just might have used this space to hide the illegal liquor that was offered for purchase during Prohibition. Tragically, Irma was killed in a horrendous car accident on January 3, 1947. What made the accident even worse was that their daughter, Lucy, was driving the car. Lucy was home from her studies at Purdue University, where she was majoring in home economics. Lucy and her mother were in a car traveling south on North 2nd Street. The roads were very icy, and Lucy lost control and skidded onto a 15-ton semi-trailer carrying a load of grain. Both Irma and Lucy were thrown from the car. Unfortunately, Irma landed in the direct path of the truck and died instantly from crushing trauma to her head. She and Fred had been married for over 26 years at the time of her death. Irma's funeral was held at Burpee Underwood Funeral Home and she is buried at Greenwood Cemetery, located directly across the street from Der Rathskeller restaurant. Oh, we've been there too, guys. Lucy was also badly hurt and required a nurse for a while. Lucy's nurse, Bertha Ritter, and Fred fell in love and were married in February 1948. Bertha would also help Fred in the restaurant business. Der Rathskeller passed into other family members' hands until it was finally sold in 1976 to Betty Geeson, her husband Dick, and her son Michael DePure. They have continued with Fred's vision, selling their own homemade sausages as well as using brand meats. Fred loved owning his restaurant, and from what staff accounts, he is still there making sure that Der Rathskeller continues in good hands. Staff members have experienced enough odd incidents to make them believe that Fred is still around. Waitstaff have experienced many subtle things that they describe as almost playful. One incident involved a young girl who worked as a hostess. She heard the stories of Fred from the other staff and then started to experience them for herself. Once when she was working in the basement dining area, she noticed a napkin that had come unrolled on a table. She stopped to fix it and then went on with her original task. A few minutes later, she passed by the table again, and the napkin was unrolled once more. She thought that the other staff members were playing a joke on her, but when she questioned her coworkers, she found they were all up in the main floor dining area. There was no one else downstairs at that time. Other staff have reported the sound of footsteps while they are downstairs. They would hear them and run upstairs to check to see if someone had entered the restaurant. Mike DePure, son of owner Betty Geeson and now manager of the restaurant, has had a few experiences of his own. These usually occur late at night after Mike has closed the place. He has seen shadows and once even heard his name called through speakers that were turned off. That particular incident startled him so much that he immediately locked the door and left the building. Paul Smith and Sarah Boker gave their impression of who exactly might be playing these tricks on the staff. They picked up 3 different entities. The playful prankster seems to be old Fred himself. He just loved the place and is very happy with the changes that have been made. Paul and Sarah claim that he just wants the owners to know he is still there. The other spirits appear to be Fred's first wife, Irma, and his second wife, Bertha. Irma is all business and does not like some of the changes that have been made over the years. Her spirit is associated with a cold breeze that swirls through the downstairs dining room. One of the managers, named Steve, shared the story of a time he was walking through the downstairs dining area when he was suddenly engulfed in an intense cold. He compared it to going into the walk-in freezer. Sarah Boker and Paul Smith both have felt this and attributed this particular claim to Irma. Sarah describes Irma as elegant, with her short gray hair worn in curls. Paul Smith stated that Irma seemed to be upset by some of the changes in the restaurant. She kept asking him, "Where are my cabinets?" Paul Smith was also in contact with his second Mrs. Goitz, Bertha, whom he describes as friendlier than Irma and seems willing to help with whatever is needed. She asked Paul not to forget about her, and she told him she is very pleased with what the current owners have done with the building. Fred worked very hard to advertise his building and to bring people to the North Main and Auburn area. The newspapers from this day describe him as a businessman who enjoyed hosting big events. He seemed to especially enjoy the Halloween season. He would always dress up and arrange for the neighboring shops to be open for the children to trick-or-treat through the stores. He really delighted in being part of the festivities. He seems that Fred still appreciates the legacy of his restaurant. The staff at Der Rathskeller seems to have adjusted to the thought that these spirits remain. They feel more comfortable when the entities are playful, but not too startling. Mike Dupree states that though he hasn't had any direct contact with old Fred lately, he always tells him good night when he locks up for the evening, just in case. And that is the end of that one, guys. It wasn't a very long one. I'm fine with that. It is right across the street from Greenwood Cemetery, though, and we've been there. Like, we've been there. They have some really, I know it's sadistic, or maybe not sadistic, just sick. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me, but we know that there was a really cool tomb. There was some really cool headstones, and they had some sculptures and everything. It was a really cool old cemetery. Really cool. And it's right across the street from Der Rathskeller. So we drove by there then too, like 3 times. Who knew? But anyways, like I said, now the building's closed. I don't know if I said it in this take. Anyways, this building was actually, it's for sale. I don't know if they're gonna tear it down. Like, the city's been tearing down a bunch of old buildings lately, and it's just sad because it's old. It's right there at the roundabout on Auburn and Maine. But anyways, I don't really have anything else. So if you guys liked my story, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more stories like this, please subscribe. And as always, I seriously appreciate you guys watching. And thank you to all my new subscribers. I see you guys. One day I'll put a list on there, thanks to you guys. I mean, you guys give me the little willpower to keep going. So, I mean, these stories are cool. I like these ones because they're right by my house. So I can drive around. I mean, they're in Rockford. We'll venture out. We'll get further out. So, anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, night, because it's night for me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.